Hi there. I hope you're having a great day. This is actually the video that I've kind of been putting off when it comes to actually recording it because I had a feeling that every day that passes that I don't record it, it's gonna be better and I'm gonna have more things to talk about and just an overall better perspective on the state of things in Shadowlands and the things that I want to talk about. When it comes to my personal impression after almost a week of being at level 60, but I already have so many things to say that I'm afraid that if I make this video later into the expansion, it's no longer going to be my first impression. It's gonna be like the 10th or the 15th impression of Shadowlands. So today I'm gonna cover those most important things about the experience in Shadowlands. If you're someone who's trying to decide whether or not you should be playing in Shadowlands, maybe this video is gonna be helpful. But most of all, I'm gonna talk about all this stuff from my own point of view. So basically, I'm gonna focus on my own experience and just kind of an opinion on what the state of things are. So take this with a grain of salt. It is not the kind of video that will tell you that things are this way or that way. It's just an experience from someone who has maybe 3 or maximum 4 hours a day to play, usually in the evening, and this is pretty much how it's been going for me. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about the launch. This is something that a lot of people have had a great experience with, and I can objectively say that this has been one of the best launches that WoW has ever had overall, I guess, because most of the servers, from what I've heard, were running really smoothly. But I have to just kind of, step in and share my own experience. I had a really weird start of the expansion. I was gonna, just stream it, and more importantly, I was gonna play together with my husband. We had this huge date night organized. We basically went to the store and got some goodies. We put our son to bed earlier that night, and we were like, woohoo, he's not teething tonight. Nothing is gonna go wrong. Except for the fact that it did go wrong. Actually, both our mains are on Kazakh, and that's the infamous server that was not down, but pretty much down at the beginning of the expansion. I actually had my previous main on Sylvanas, where I was, we're talking about EU, by the way. So I was logged in there from 10 to 12 p.m. earlier that night. So before midnight, and midnight was when the expansion hit in Europe, and I was streaming that whole time. So I was just kind of, getting my characters on Sylvanas set up. But my new main is actually on Kazakh, which is where my guildies are and where my new main is and where my husband also plays. And he actually got logged out of Kazakh the last time he played before Shadowlands launched. So when he was trying to get in, he couldn't. And, midnight came and I was still supposed to continue streaming and I was supposed to continue playing. So it was just a really, really weird experience for me because I had people in chat and we were like, woo, let's enjoy Shadowlands. But on the other hand, I had him who I really wanted to play with, and he couldn't even get logged into the game while I was logged in on Sylvanas and I didn't have any issues. So I had my feral druid there and I started streaming and I was like, yay, let's go to the mall and see what this is all about. And the whole time I was looking at him basically being on Discord with our guildies who couldn't even get logged in anyway, and it was just kind of a weird experience for me. So I went through that starting scenario, the mall with my feral druid, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna continue streaming in a few hours once the servers stabilize. So my husband and I, we went to bed and we got up early that day, the first day of the expansion. That was about 4 a.m. or so. When we decided to log in again, and we got logged in eventually, and I eventually got to stream it. But that first hype, that first moment that we were kind of looking forward to experience together. I didn't really get that. And following the launch, things have been okay. If you were one of those people committed enough to just sit there and basically click or move or do anything in the game so you don't get logged out of the server, because in the first few days, the queues on Kazakh were enormous. About like, I don't know, 3,000, sorry, people were trying to log in the afternoon when people were returning from work. So if you didn't get yourself logged in before like 2 or 3 p.m., you had to wait for like 2 or 3 solid hours through the queue, and it was just a really odd experience. I honestly was not really happy about it, even though I am one of those people as a content creator slash stay-at-home mom. Currently, I was able to be at home and basically just, click every, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes or something so I don't get logged out. But the moment you get disconnected, you just are not able to get back into the game. And this still happens from time to time. The queues are not as long anymore. They tend to be around a few hundred people, which is about, I don't know, maybe 30 or 40-minute wait. But overall, it's okay. It's better. I'm just hoping that things stabilize, and I really do feel sorry for people who took the time off work to go ahead and play the new expansion, because if you were on Kazakh, you were just not really able to do that. And consequently, we were all late with leveling, with gearing. We started our mythics very late into that first week of mythics. I only got to get into 2 by the end of that first week, and hopefully this week is gonna be better. But overall, that's something that just made us all feel really late when it comes to entering the new expansion. But speaking of being late, there's also the whole leveling experience, and I have to say, for me, that was really good. I really enjoyed leveling, not just because it's a linear story that you can follow, but because there is a story to follow. There is so much roleplay and these little quests that you don't even want to rush through. You just kind of want to sit there and listen to what they have to say. And even these slow quests, they didn't bother me too much. The ones where you have to carry something heavy and you're walking around and carrying it around, or where you have to fly on there was that quest with the Kyrian guy, just like, I don't know, taking you all over that bastion zone where you had to ring bells and stuff. Even these kinds of things were fun because those things are memorable, and the dialogues are really good. They just really make you stop and not quest until the dialogue in front of you is over. So I was really excited to level. I was a little bit pressured when I saw that like all my friends and guildies were already level 60. They were already queuing like normal, some even heroics. I hit level 60 on, I think it was like Thursday afternoon, so it took me like 3 or 4 days. I wasn't really in that much of a rush because I knew that I would level all my ults through these alternative paths. I wouldn't go through the story again, not anytime soon, and I really kind of wanted to soak it in, so I wasn't really worried about that. Later on, I felt a bit of a regret when I figured that most of my guildies are already doing heroics and I'm still stuck at like level, I don't know, 59 and not even entering the dungeons. But eventually it all flattens out. I was able to overcome that guilt and fully enjoy the story. The story is really beautiful. I never got to experience that thing that everyone kept talking about. So you just being phased into this whole big group of players just going around and questing. I'm not sure if that's something that even happened on other servers. Kazakh was a bit of a mess, so I guess once I logged in, there was nobody around because people either couldn't get in or they gave up on it for the night. So I just went through this like weird stage of not really seeing anyone in the open open world, and I have to say I'm a bit grateful for that, because I don't normally enjoy, you know, the whole rush kind of thing where you can't even see the quest giver and there's someone with a mammoth just standing on the quest giver so you can't even touch it. Overall, great leveling experience. I am yet to level my alts due to too much like mount farming and doing other things. I have not been doing what I thought would be important for me once the expansion hits, which is getting my 4 alts, for all 3 alts and 1 main, into their 4 covenants. I still haven't done that, but I'm planning to do so. For now, I'm just enjoying the content that is available to me right now, and I'm having a lot of fun with that, even though I'm only playing my main. But soon enough that is going to change, because we have not a boring week in front of us, but there's only the mythics 0 unlocked and those few layers and wings of Torghast that I want to go through, and that is pretty much it. So there will be time for that. So when it comes to my main, I had a lot of fun with Affliction Warlock. This is something that I'm fairly new to. I have never really mained a caster, so it's a new experience for me. And just there are these little things that I'm still trying to get used to, like a target not being in line of sight, which is something that I, as a former feral druid main, have never even experienced so far. And overall, I'm having a lot of fun. It's just sometimes I'm like, am I even in combat? Like when I'm standing like, I don't know, 200 yards away and I'm casting spells, it just doesn't really feel like I'm participating. But then some sort of mechanic hits me and I'm like, okay, yeah, the boss definitely knows I'm there, so it's all good. I'm slightly unhappy with how the gearing is scaled with Affliction Warlock. So I'm currently in the process of entering my mythics, and I have like different pieces of gear literally from like level 138 to 184, and like my stats are all messed up, and it's just a really weird spec to play right now, because I'm not dealing a lot of damage because I'm not getting my items with haste that I desperately need. I have overcapped my mastery, and I am still in the process of trying to find balance between the two, and I've been getting just weird items, but overall I'm happy about the lack of titan forging, whatever kind of forging there was in the previous expansions. I am just so grateful that I at least know what the item level is going to be. The stats that roll, like the off stats, are a whole different story. I'm just hoping to basically get my mythic gear in shape before I start needing it for raids. But overall, I am happy with it. I just really want to get geared and start, you know, balancing my characters so I can actually cast spells in a normal time span and not really worry about damage, because currently that is not something Affliction Warlock is doing for me as someone who's severely under-geared in comparison to some of my other friends. But overall, I'm really happy. So when it comes to some specific things about the expansion, when we speak about Renown, I have to say I thought Renown was gonna be a bit of a, you know, more of a game changer for me. I thought I was gonna be way more focused on that, and actually not being too focused on it is a relief. What I'm really talking about is doing those quests. So at the beginning of the week, you take the quests for anima, for souls that have to be returned from the maw and all that stuff, and you don't worry about completing it. I took all my quests on Wednesday morning, and I was like, okay, let's do some Renown progress. And then I went through the quests that I need to go through in that week, and I was like, okay, well, I'll just do all this while literally playing the game, and it's not that overwhelming. There's no such thing as an overwhelming war campaign the way it was in Battle for Azeroth. I don't have to worry about, you know, finishing with this huge quest chain first and then getting to the rest of the stuff later. So that's a big relief. And when it comes to covenants, and I've chosen Night Fae, I have to say that my first experiences were like, wow. I mean, the intro story for Night Fae really made me feel grateful for picking Night Fae as my main. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who wants to level alt in Ardenweald as a Night Fae Covenant, but I have to say, if you choose to do that, you will not be disappointed in the like beginning scenario. I'm usually not the kind of person who gets wowed by the intro scenario, someone welcoming you into their cult or whatever, but this was really nice. I really loved how the fairies just like organize this huge theater where you get to basically relive some of the moments from your past. But it's pretty nifty because all the new players also get to, you know, go through these most important events that have been happening in the, I don't know, past few years or like 10 years or something. Like there's gonna be names that don't really sound familiar to you, but you're gonna get the picture of what Azeroth used to look like. And overall, I think it's really, really, really fun. I love Night Fae, and as someone who is super photosensitive, Night Fae just really suits my eyes, and it just gives me this calming vibe. Except for like the occasional random, you know, glowy things that appear on screen, I'm totally fine in Night Fae. This is one of the reasons I couldn't pick Kyrian. Bastion is like okay for me, but for me it's just way too bright, and I've been trying to mess with, you know, brightness and some settings, but it is nothing that can be changed. I just have to choose to, but just spend a bit less time there and just focus on Revendreth and these zones that are a bit darker and a bit more, you know, soothing for me. And speaking of zones overall, I think they're all so beautiful. It's not giving me this afterlife vibe, to be honest, because naturally it's an open world that you get to experience. I didn't really think that everything is just gonna be like run through this filter that makes you think it's like a ghost town or something. I'm glad that it looks like a real place, but more often than not, I forget that these are all the creatures that, you know, died. That's their afterlife, and I don't see it that way. So I'm not really getting this roleplay thing, and I really do like to do that when the expansion starts. And like, I guess throughout the whole expansion, I just really enjoy that. But now I'm just not really focused on the fact that these are souls, because I keep killing them and they keep respawning. So I'm not really sure that kind of, you know, fits what they've been trying to show us with Shadowlands. They're not really showing us, you know, immortal souls, because they definitely can be killed, they respawn, but that's the WoW mechanic. I guess the mechanic of the game doesn't really go well with what they're trying to say in the story, but you know, it is what it is. That's the best they could have done, I guess. And overall, I'm just really happy with it. So, as I already mentioned, I do think that Ardenweald is, well, to me at least, my favorite zone. It has the most beautiful art, and I don't know, like, it just depends on what you personally like. I'm not usually the fairy type, but the fairies are beautiful, and the art and the armor sets and the mounts and everything that comes from Ardenweald, to me, it really is beautiful. I'm going to put Revendreth on the second place. It was between like Revendreth and Bastion, but I can't go Bastion as my second because it's too bright for me, and that is just my personal problem, my personal issue. It is beautiful, but I can't spend a lot of time there looking at these bright zones because it really makes my head hurt. And that's pretty much the reason why I chose Bastion as my third, and I went with Revendreth as my second because it just has this like cool gothic vibe that I'm enjoying, and also I really like the story, and I love the fact that, you know, they're working on something as a community. You know, they're overthrowing the bad guy. There's like a really cool ending to the story and the campaign, and and it doesn't really have to do a lot with design. I still haven't really experienced a lot of Revendreth to be able to judge that, but I really like the, you know, the gothics, the architecture. It's really beautiful. Maldraxxus for me is like, yeah, you know, not as beautiful as I thought it would be. You know, it's bones. It's pretty much bones and carnage and a lot of just green radioactive stuff that I'm kind of sort of a little bit sick of. I don't really find myself to be welcome there. I do spend an enormous amount of time in Maldraxxus because my husband chose Maldraxxus as his covenant, and from time to time we do things there as well, and he does things in Ardenweald, so I guess I'm experiencing my most favorite and my least favorite zone at the same time. So when it comes to mythics and dungeons and gearing overall, I have to say I'm having so much fun in dungeons, and I think the team that worked on dungeons and mechanics and all this stuff, they really did an amazing job, because even on normal dungeons there are these mechanics and these specific things that you have to do in dungeons, like positioning yourself so you can, I don't know, so the abomination can hook the boss, or just like jumping from one place to another so the red splash of anima doesn't, you know, just go all over you. I think these things are really good for the game. They're really fun, and I think they're really waking us up and getting us out of our shells of projected players and basically mushroom casters and players who are just standing in one spot and just nuking the boss and not thinking about mechanics too much. The dungeons and overall, I guess the raids are gonna be that way as well. They are packed with mechanics, and if you like that kind of thing, if you enjoy being challenged, I think you're really gonna enjoy that experience. Speaking of mechanics and other things that challenge you, there's Torghast, and I have to say Torghast for me is one of the most favorite features of the game, not because of the way it's designed, not because, I don't know, it looks cool, and it does look cool and it's designed really well. But for me personally, I went to Torghast with some of my friends or with my husband who really just had a great time basically discussing strategies, like what we're gonna do, where we're gonna go, how we're gonna deal with a minion. It's just, it always felt like an adventure for me, and that is something that I'm really grateful for. And it's just a place to make friends, in my in my honest opinion. I don't know, like if you enjoy playing on your own, if you like Torghast, you're gonna have a lot of fun with it. But if you have a friend who's also into Torghast, try tagging along with someone or just bringing a group of people there. It's a lot of fun, and just talking about what you're gonna do, who you're gonna pull first, who you're gonna fear, when you're gonna stun, what you're gonna interrupt and stuff. Just doing this just makes you feel really good. It makes you feel like you're really working on something, and that is just amazing. On the other hand, well, Torghast is in the Maw, but I have to say that Torghast is like the only part of the Maw that I really enjoy. The rest is, yeah, you know, we, like my husband and I went to the Maw, I think, I don't know, once or twice since the beginning of the expansion, and I know it's the kind of thing that you really want to keep doing. You want to farm that Stygia, you want to do dailies, but yeah, you know, it's just right now there are so many other things that I want to do that even though it is a daily thing that we should be exploring, I don't really like doing what I'm supposed to be doing if it doesn't feel too good. And I know that Maw wasn't created to make us feel good, but it just doesn't really get me there. It doesn't really make me feel like I'm spending my time in a quality manner. And especially with like the Wrath of the Jailer event, I tried to do it a couple of times, and every time I walked from point A to point B where the Wrath of the Jailer event used to be, it would always end before I even get there. and that just kind of made me feel really demotivated. I really think there should have been at least some sort of reward system or reputation grind to make your, you know, journey through Mom more accessible, with maybe some portal spawns or maybe more of these occasional mounts or whatever, because it's a really weird thing to just, you know, create a zone where you're gonna put all the people who are really used to using at least their ground mounts to walk around and get their way around. It's just, it doesn't really make me feel good. And even though I used to main Feral Druid, I have to say, I'm just really baffled by the fact that druids are allowed to use their stag form in the maw and basically get the mount speed, and nobody else is able to do that. I just think it creates a really weird imbalance in the game, and I'm probably just going to regret these words if it ever becomes nerfed, and once I go and play my Feral Druid, if I end up not being able to switch to my stag form, I'm gonna be really sad. But you know, objectively, I think it's a lot better for the game if that thing is not a thing in the game. So I don't know, like I just wish they would address that. And all my fellow Feral Druids and people who I've been talking to about their druid mains are gonna hate me for this, but you know, I just think it would be healthier if no one was allowed to get that kind of mount speed. It just doesn't really make you feel good. Anyway, when it comes to the mounts, I've been enjoying mount farming so much, and I've been doing a lot of mount guides. I know I'm not supposed to be hunting mounts on the first week, and I'm supposed to be doing these, you know, gearing and whatever, but I really want to play my game the way I want to play my game, and I want to grind mounts, and that's something that makes me happy, and you can see that from my YouTube channel, so I've been doing that a lot, and I want to do it because there are just these unique things that I've never had, you know, like these frogs and these serapid mounts and all that stuff that I just really want. And if I'm gonna go around the rest of the open world on my old mounts, then I'm just not gonna go around at all, and I just have to get myself all of this new stuff. So I'm not really worried about, you know, missing out on the content that everybody else is doing. I like my mounts, I want my mounts, and I go around and I get myself some mounts, and that makes me happy because they're amazing, they are beautiful. So if you like yourself some new cool awesome mounts, go do that. Shadowlands is a great place to get all this stuff. When it comes to money making and professions overall, I have to say I haven't really been doing all that much, even though I took the gathering professions at the beginning of the expansion. I don't really like having these crafting professions because they take a lot of time to do, and as you can probably understand by now, I do a lot of other things apart from just gold grinding. I don't have a lot of time to do that, so I just passively grind gold by, you know, buying herbs, selling them on the auction house in the early days, or buying skin and selling them, or helping my friends out and sending it so they can craft their mets and potions and, you know, legendaries and whatnot. That's kind of what makes me feel okay, because I do get an enormous amount of gold from just doing that. I know it's not an enormous amount of gold. I got around, like, I think 100k since the beginning of the expansion from just skinning and doing herbalism, and I don't do it a lot. I skin from time to time, like in the open world, if there's a quest area where the mobs that we get to kill can be skinned. And yes, I'm also the person who skins in dungeons, so yeah, love me or hate me for it. Like, I'm sure a lot of my group members are not really happy about it, but yes, I'm the person who goes ahead and skins those serapids and little dragons and whatnot to get the skin, because I feel like I should probably not feel this, I should probably know this, but I do think that in dungeons you're getting more of these rarer skins, I guess, and one of these rare skins, I can't remember its name right now, basically the blue ones that you get from skinning in Shadowlands, I can't remember, I'll look it up later. Anyway, That one costs about 1,000 gold, and it's a lot of money for me to miss out on for just, you know, 2 seconds of skinning or whatever. So yes, I do that, and I'm not really overwhelmed by professions. I usually switch some way midway in the expansion, and I try to do these achievements where I get the hang of multiple professions per expansion. So I start with the gathering ones, and what I don't sell on the auction house I use later as my own mets. So maybe if you're into professions, that's something you can also do. When it comes to these missions and the new like auto chess, battlegrounds, whatever kind of system, I have to say I haven't really explored it that much. You know, I set my mission, it's completed, I get it back. I kind of sort of understand what goes on there, but I'm not a huge tactician when it comes to that, so I don't really spend a lot of time doing that. I'm assuming that once I get more champions, probably through a very passive way, because I don't normally go ahead and farm for them, or if I don't need something from the missions just yet. Then I'll just come back to that once I'm free of all these other things that I want to do. Pet battles are also something that I still haven't been doing. I've been promising a lot of guides and a lot of content, and I'm a bit slacky when it comes to basically my battle pet team. I've been wanting to hunt for pets, and I don't know, to do these, like, I don't know, pet battles, especially the dailies, because if you see the world quest map, in each zone you have like 4 world quests and you have 1 pet battle quest, and I'm always like, let's do a pet battle quest, and then I go and do it, and I try to do it at least, and I lose almost every time. So I really need to get myself some better pets, and I'm probably just gonna invest a few thousand gold to get some starting team that's leveled up there, because I don't have the time to level from 1 to 25. So I think that's just going to be a money investment for me. And Shadowlands, I just need to figure out which pets are good enough for a team that battles certain battle pets, and once I do that, you'll be the first to know. PvP is also something I'm not very big on, and still I haven't really touched it, but I'm gonna at some point. I tried to do it last week, at least queue these random battlegrounds for the quest, but I didn't do it. I never even queued a single battleground, and I just kind of want to see how Affliction Warlock really fares through the battlegrounds. Arenas are not really the kind of thing that I do. I usually do it at some point to collect the sets and stuff, but you know, overall I don't think it's very high on my priority list. So at some point I'll get to that, but not just yet, not yet. The same goes for legendaries. I know that everybody's talking about it. There's a huge hype around, you know, legendary system and stuff, and I still haven't got my legendary recipe for my main. At least it comes from the second to last boss in the raid, and I'm not gonna be getting that for another like 2 weeks or whatever. The other 3 legendaries for me drop in certain wings of Torghast. I got 1 legendary recipe, but it's not even for my spec, so I'm kind of disappointed about that. But hopefully this week is gonna be better, and I can at least get a mythic plus legendary or a solo legendary, so I can at least, you know, do stuff and feel a bit stronger in the open world. So basically, overall, I'm very happy with the expansion. This is kind of a longer video. I don't usually do these super long reviews and commentaries and stuff, but I have to say, Shadowlands earned it. Shadowlands really deserves it as an expansion. It really stole my heart. I'm enjoying it. I try to do a lot of guides and a lot of, you know, in real life responsibilities, but like when the evening comes, like 9 p.m. or so, I really just want to be in Shadowlands, and I try to stream as much as I can of it and do as much as I can and just play as much as I can because it's one of the best expansions that I've experienced so far. Overall, you know, when I take in everything into consideration, the good and the bad, I feel amazing in Shadowlands, and I hope you do too. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the review. And yeah, I don't think I mentioned this before, but yeah, I did mention it during my streams, I guess, but I should probably say it in this video. As well. I started streaming more intensively on YouTube, so if you've been following my YouTube content, you're gonna see me go live in the evening quite a little bit. Right now I'm really focusing on YouTube, and I kind of put the Twitch thing on hold for the time being because I really want to be there for people who are watching my guides and consuming my other content. So if you're one of those, yeah, expect to see me a whole lot. 5 to 7 days a week is how often I will be streaming on YouTube in comparison to 3 times a week that I used to do before. And yeah, that is pretty much it for today. Sorry for a bit of a longish video. I try to make my videos, you know, short and sweet, but as this is a commentary, I hope that at least it's going to be useful to you. And I really do want to hear how you're feeling in Shadowlands. That's super important to me. So make sure to write it down in the comments. Tell me what you've been enjoying the most and what kind of content you'd like to see on channel the most when it comes to Shadowlands. Do you want to see more mount guides? Do you want to see more class guides and stuff? I'm all over the place, and I want to provide as much as I can to the community, and I've been working so hard. So I like, if I'm working so hard already, I just want to create content that is meaningful to you guys and useful and helps you get those easy wins in WoW and just get as many things as you want and improve your gameplay as much as you can. So that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching this this longish review. Hopefully it was fun, and yeah, I will see you in my next video. Take care, enjoy Shadowlands, and if you still haven't gotten into the expansion, please do. It's awesome. And I'll see you in the open world. Bye bye.